news just coming into our newsroom. 2 fugitives wanted by the FBI, including a longtime accused LA gang leader, now in custody tonight.
A True Crime News exclusive, never before seen surveillance video of the crime as it unfolded. The father and son suspects trying to cover their tracks. Was it pre-planned or a robbery gone wrong?
Okay, y'all, buckle up because this new footage, it just flipped the PnB Rock case on its head. And baby, it's not looking good for Big U, not one bit. The whispers about him being involved in Nipsey Hussle's death, already chilling. But now, there's even louder talk that Big U might have played a role in what happened to PnB Rock too. Sounds insane, right? But when you line up the dates, the strange interviews, and some behind-the-scenes chatter that the FBI's been quietly confirming, things start falling into place, and the picture they paint, absolutely terrifying.
Executive and community activist is accused of running a criminal empire in Los Angeles. Eugene Henley Jr. facing RICO charges, allegedly tying him to the notorious Rollin' 60s street gang. Eyewitness News reporter Sophie Flay has more on his appearance today.
So here's where it gets messier. The police haven't officially named Big U in the case yet, but y'all know how this goes. Where there's smoke, there's almost always fire, and the smoke started pouring in heavy when Loose Cannon, someone real close to Big U, spilled way too much tea. In one interview, Loose casually admitted he was right there at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles when PnB Rock got taken out. He made it sound like a casual robbery. Dude wanted that chain, PnB said no, boom. He took it and ran. That alone was heartless. But then Loose went too far. In another sit down, he let something huge slip. He didn't just say he was there, he said Big U was there too. And not just that, he mocked him, calling him Big Useless, saying it was him and Big Useless inside Roscoe's when it all went down, y'all. That changed everything. If Big U was really inside Roscoe's during the shooting, didn't stop it, didn't say a word, and just let it happen, that's shady. That's more than shady. Loose even said he wished he had told PnB to just give up the jewelry so they could get it back later, like this was all part of some plan they already knew was about to pop off.
It's like super messed up because at the end of the day, it was me and Big Useless in there when it happened. So when it happened, I wish I could have just told him like, bro, just give up the jewelry and we get it back to you later. But it just happened so fast.
Now, when Big U got asked about all this, silence, just complete dodging. No straight answers, no clearing his name, just that same eerie silence. And you already know when someone's innocent, they're the first to yell it from the rooftops. But Big U, quiet. And baby, that silence is loud. It didn't take long before internet sleuths and street detectives started digging through old interviews, old clips, and old beefs, piecing everything together. And when you factor in Big U's long, messy past full of extortion claims, robbery setups, and fake hero rescues, the theory starts sounding a whole lot less like conspiracy and a whole lot more like reality. Because let's talk facts. Big U has been accused for years of running this twisted little extortion game where someone gets robbed and then Big U shows up like some street superhero offering to help get their stuff back for a fee. Sound familiar? Because that's exactly what happened to PnB Rock. Ambushed, robbed, and MD'd, all while Big U's alleged operation was still up and running. Now, he might not be officially indicted for this one, but in street politics, the one pulling the trigger is never the one calling the shots, and the real shot caller rarely sees a courtroom. But with this new footage and Loose Cannon running his mouth, the streets are starting to hum. This wasn't some random robbery. This was cold, calculated, and connected.
It was like super messed up because at the end of the day, it was me and Big Useless in there when it happened. So when it happened, I wish I could have just told him like, bro, just give up the jewelry and we get it back to you later. But it just happened so fast and he wasn't cooperating. And that's when they took it off of him by force. You get what I'm saying? Give it up and then check in with the real people. So we're going to find the jury and we're going to get it because we know all the pawn shops, we know all the people that's going to melt it down and everything like that. So as soon as it comes on their table, we got it. Okay, get it, go in that back room, make that phone call, put them on the phone.
Now this part right here, it's bone chilling. Loose Cannon basically admitted that he and Big U were inside the restaurant when everything popped off. No, he didn't say we did it, but he made it clear they were present. And that's enough to raise every eyebrow. Even PnB Rock himself warned people about how dangerous LA was becoming. In an interview with Bootleg Kev, he shared that he'd already survived multiple robbery attempts. So why is it that Big U and Loose just happened to be at Roscoe's the moment PnB was targeted? It's giving setup. It's giving betrayal. To make things even darker, Loose and Big U weren't even on good terms. Loose had recently started pointing fingers at said Big U for Nipsey Hussle's death too. He claimed Big U called him before Nipsey got shot saying he was already dead. But when Luce checked, Nipsey was still breathing, only to be killed minutes later. And now, March 19, 2025. Boom. Big U turned himself in after the feds hit him with a jaw-dropping 43-count RICO indictment. And baby, when the feds drop 43 charges on your head, they're not playing guessing games. They're swinging with evidence. Heavy. Big U isn't being painted as some ex-gangster turned mentor. Nope. The feds are calling him the head of a full-blown criminal empire, Big U enterprise, fraud, murder, extortion, even tied to the 2021 death of aspiring rapper Rayan Williams. And here's where the betrayal cuts deepest. Big U's nonprofit Developing Options, the one that was supposed to be for the kids, a complete front, according to prosecutors. Instead of helping the streets, he was milking them, cashing in on government grants, NBA donations, and COVID relief, all to fund his empire. And while he smiled for the camera with celebs and politicians, he was allegedly gutting the very neighborhoods he pretended to save. It's giving wolf in sheep's clothing. Now let's rewind for a second, because to understand how deep this goes, you've got to understand where Big U came from. He grew up in South Central LA, close to where the Crips were born. His dad was tied to the Black P. Stone Nation in Chicago, and that gangster blood followed him to LA. Early on, he joined the Arlington Gang, then merged into the Rollin 60S. He was no joke. Built like a tank, feared for his fists before he ever held a piece. He was knee-deep in gang life. Fistfights, car thefts, juvie stints. By the early 80s, he was back in LA, thirsty for revenge after his cousin got taken out in the A-Tray Wars. And from there, his street legend took off. Skating rink brawls, Run DMC concert riots, county jail visits, it was chaos. The FBI even said Big U was rising up the Rolling 60S ranks, known as a stone-cold enforcer. They say he got shot 7 times and kept going. During the crack epidemic, he and the Rolling 60S expanded across the country, LA, Minneapolis, Atlanta, Chicago. Big U was building empires. Then came the music. He jumped into the industry, managing rappers like Poe LQ and a Young Corrupt, but the streets caught up to him. In 1991, he got busted trying to rob 33 pounds of coke from an undercover fed. He pulled a piece, got swarmed, and landed a 23-year sentence. Even in prison, his legend only grew. Rumors say he knocked a man's eyeball out. He dominated the contraband trade, but then something changed. He started talking redemption, reading, writing, theology, inspired by Michael Harry O. Harris, the Death Row Records mogul, reading the Bible, writing the Bible, Book of Rex, where he studied. When he finally got out in 2004, the streets had changed, but so had Big U. Or so we thought. He launched Developing Options, claiming it would mentor youth and heal the hood. Snoop Dogg even backed it. And Big U re-entered the rap game heavy. Through Corrupt, he linked up with Suge Knight and mentored rising star Nipsey Hussle. At first, it was magic. Big U helped Nip land features, release mixtapes, and build his brand. But then things soured. Nip allegedly signed a bad 10-year deal with Big U's label and wanted out. After a tour incident where police found illegal substances, Big U backed off. But something was off. Nipsey started suspecting Big U was using his tour buses to move more than music. The final straw, Big U asked for studio equipment back for his son, and Nipsey dropped a diss track aimed at him. You don't got a clue. It wasn't mainstream, but it said everything. The beef was real, and that's why so many now believe Big U had something to do with Nipsey's death, and maybe, just maybe, with PnB's too.
Of PnB Rock. Law enforcement sources tell the Los Angeles Times the rapper died on September 12th in a shooting at a Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles restaurant in South LA. Police confirmed to E! News that a man was a shooting at the 100 block of Manchester Ave, but the victim's identity was not shared.
Now let's zoom in on September 12, 2022. PnB Rock and his fiancée Stephanie were in LA for a wedding, planning to fly back to Atlanta later. They stopped at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles on Main Street. Stephanie begged him, please take off the jewelry, leave it in the car. He didn't listen. He reassured her it's okay, God got us. But God wasn't enough this time. Inside the restaurant, they bumped into a man named Tarrant Jones, friendly dap. Nothing seemed off, but moments later, Tarrant made a call to Freddie Trone, who rolled up, met with Tarrant, and handed off a weapon wrapped in a towel. Minutes later, Freddie's 17-year-old son stormed into Roscoe's with a gun. He went straight to PnB's table, demanded the jewelry, threatened to kill Stephanie if he didn't comply. PnB tried to protect her, pushed her under the table, but it was too late. 3 shots rang out. PnB was hit twice. The boy took his chains, his watch, even Stephanie's. She tried to call for help, but the shooter threatened her, then bolted. Stephanie later said the kid seemed confused, unsure, like he didn't even know what he was doing. And that's the saddest part, he was just a kid, but the plan? All Freddie's. Tarrant gave the location, Freddie passed the gun, and his son pulled the trigger. They tried to cover it up, burnt the car, ran to Vegas, lied to police. But surveillance footage and testimony caught up with them. Freddie, his wife, and others were charged. The whole plan unraveled, and just weeks before his death, PnB had talked about how dangerous LA had gotten. He even warned DJ Academics that the streets were watching him, always, just like they did his brother Steph, who was taken too soon. PnB Rock tried to rise above it. He left the streets, but the streets never left him. And in the end, that's That's what killed him. His legacy, powerful. His death, devastating. And the people behind it, some say they weren't strangers. Some say they were very familiar faces. As for Big U, if even half these accusations are true, he's not the savior he pretended to be. He's the predator behind the mask. And now, with the feds circling, the footage released, and the streets talking louder than ever, we all want to know, was Big U really behind it all?